Welcome to Love, Death, and Deceit. This is my story about losing my wife to cancer and my daughter to evil. The story you're about to hear is told solely from my perspective and reflects my own memories, documents, and interpretations. Some events may be simplified, paraphrased, or reconstructed for clarity. The episode may include allegations or opinions that have not been proven in court, and all individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven otherwise through official legal processes. Nothing in this podcast is presented as established fact, and no harm, defamation, or misrepresentation is intended. Listener discretion is advised. Episode 2. I lost her before death did us part. So in episode 1, obviously I was reading what I wrote down in that episode just so I wouldn't forget anything. But in this episode, and from now on, I'm just going to talk and tell you what went on. So most people don't know that, like I said, I lost my wife before I lost my wife to death. And what happened was a whole series of manipulation that started a month or more before the actual act. So unfortunately, I was not with my wife when she passed. I've been taking care of her for the last couple years through her sickness, with her 24/7 most times. And in her final 6 weeks, she was taken away from me along with my daughter. So what happened was I went to get a battery one day, and my wife calls me and says, "You got to get home now. We need to talk." And so I just didn't even ask questions. I just took off back home. And when I got there, she said that she just got off the phone with her mom and her sister-in-law and her ex. So what happened was her ex, Ashley's biological father, came to get her for his second time in the entire year, because that's what he got her, about 2, maybe 3 times a year roughly, and got her for a couple hours, because that's what we do with our kids, right? And so anyway, he had picked her up that morning, and after he picked her up, my wife's mother called him, the biological father, and told him that she had reason to believe that me and my youngest son were doing bad things to my daughter, which of course we weren't, but this is her way of, even before it came down to it, because she knew Jennifer's time was limited and she wanted to secure the custody of my stepdaughter, because she didn't want me to have custody because I wasn't blood and I didn't do what she said, and I don't follow her and I don't bow to her like the rest of the family does, because whatever reason, control she has over everybody, you don't control me. And so anyway, she called the biological father and told him that she had reason to believe that we were, doing stuff to my daughter. And so he told my wife that he was not bringing her daughter back home, that he was going to keep her, and he was going to go down Monday and file for custody of his daughter, because my wife was unable to care for her, because at this time she's been in bed for 60 days. She hadn't eaten solid food in 60 days. I was her 24/7 caretaker, giving her TPN, IV nausea meds, taking care of her around the clock. So I was also taking care of our daughter, fixing her lunches, bringing her to school, making sure her clothes were clean, all the stuff, taking her to her volleyball practices and everything. So he said, "You're not physically able to take care of her, and the person you're having taken care of her is about to be under investigation. So I'm going to file for custody if you don't leave that house and go live with your mom." And of course, where did that come from? The mom, the grandmother. The grandmother called him and told him all this stuff, and told him to do it. And then the sister-in-law that lives states away, I don't even know how she was involved in any of this crap. They got her in on it, and she said, if you don't leave in, I can't remember what it was, 48 or 72 hours, that I'm going to file a police report against Alan and his son, and I'm going to call it Adult Protective Services. And I told, my wife told me this, and I was like, let them call. We haven't done shit. Like, let them call. I'm not scared. Go for it. But the part that got to my wife, which they knew would, is that the biological father said he wasn't going to bring her daughter back if she didn't leave my house and go live with her mom. So she was freaking out because she can't lose her daughter. She could not stand the biological father. Just her being with him for hours gave her, bad feelings, like she couldn't stand it. And so the thought of her daughter not being there, because at this point we know she's got months to live, couple months. And so her thought of being without her daughter in her final days is what drove her over to the mother's house. And so there she went. And this was something, of course, was totally unprepared for. That was totally heartbreaking. I mean, the day before was the last time I ever got to see my daughter. And I call her my daughter because she was my daughter. So technically she was my stepdaughter, but she called me dad. She went by my last name in school. She signed all of her stuff with my last name. She refused to go by her legal last name. Got emails from my wife to the teacher that I'll put up on screen here in a second, explaining to the teacher that she refused to be called the other name, and then she only goes by my name, and that I'm her father and her husband and all the things, because of course they're accusing us of not being married, because we never got a marriage license because we really didn't care about the state getting involved in our business. But we got married in a church in front of witnesses with a pastor and had a reception and a honeymoon. But this whole time they're like, oh, we weren't legally married. You can go look at my wife's Facebook. It says Jennifer McElvaney Brundred. Go look at the pictures. Go look at the wedding pictures. Go look at it all and tell me we weren't married. It's a bunch of BS. But this whole thing has been lies and deceit and twisting the truth, hence the name Love, Death, and Deceit, because that's what happened. So anyway, she's like, I gotta go. She's all frantic. And I mean, she's sick as hell at this point. I mean, she died 6 weeks after this happened. And so I'm getting everything together for her. I'm like, that's fine, babe. I don't want you, to be all upset about there. Just go and we'll figure it out in the next couple of days. But I didn't really realize that that's when the extreme manipulation and fun stuff would really start. So when she left, she took her documents with her, which in that was a couple different things. It was her will, which in her will, she said that she wanted me to have custody of Ashley, and then she left me some money for attorney fees to fight for custody of Ashley. Well, of course, a couple weeks after being at her mother's house while she was in the hospital, she signed a new will while in the hospital. How does that fly? I don't know, but it happened. And of course, in the new will, I wasn't mentioned anywhere in it. Unfortunately, I had never made copies of the will because it was in my safe. I didn't think I needed copies of a will that's in my safe, but when I didn't think about it when I gave her paperwork when she left. But I did find on her phone, and I'll put it on my website here, pictures of her will before her last revision that she had texted to her attorney. So I have those. I have like a little bit of it, but I don't have the whole freaking thing, of course, because hindsight's 2020. So that's how she left. That's why she left. A lot of people don't know I wasn't with her when she died, even though I was with her, taking care of her for years before that. And so, I printed some text messages here that I'll put on the screen. It was text messages of her after she was at her mother's house. And of course, they're like, oh, once she left your house, she had clarity and she never wanted to talk to you again because all the nasty things that you did to her, all I did was take care of her for years. The last 6 weeks was like 24/7. And, before that, we were in the hospital and in and out and all this kind of stuff. So, it's like the first one after she got to her mom's, I got it here on my screen. It says, I'm laying down now, pretty sad, I love you, trying to get meds worked out so I can sleep. And I was just like, I'm sad too, baby, are you okay? She's like, yes, just really upset. And, there's another one where I'm just like, what's going on? She's like, please but don't be mad at me, I can't take it. And then, the other thing is then, so I, was checking on her here and there. And towards the end, like, the messages I was getting back from her were, like, obviously not her. They weren't in her wording. They weren't in that. So, like, I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure somebody had her phone when she was knocked out on pain meds and responding to my stuff and then, deleting it so she didn't see it or whatever. Like I said, I can't prove that, but that's what I'm thinking because, like, when you get a text from your wife, just in the wording, you know if it's them or not, right? And it's like, this is weird. Why is she saying this stuff to me or talking like this or, whatever. And it's just insane. So, when I was checking on her one day, it's like I found out that she was in the hospital. Had no idea. And I was just like, let me find it here. I was like, oh my God, you're in the hospital. I said, what's your room number? She said, I can't. My parents are here. I said, you can't have them leave for a little bit so I can see you? She's like, they won't leave me, Alan. I'm sorry. And I was like, and they won't let you see your husband? I just need to know where I stand and if our goodbye kiss Saturday was the last time I'll ever see you. And she said, I can't deal with this today. I'm exhausted, haven't been sleeping well over here, and I'm just overwhelmed. Please give me some time to get this wrapped around my brain. I love you. I'm so sorry you're hurting. I'm hurting too. So she's so drugged up at this point. She was taking, I can't remember the name of the stuff, but it was like every 4 hours she was taking these pain meds. But the funny thing is, so when she was at my house and I was taking care of her, she was almost weaned off of her as needed pain meds and was only taking methadone for actually baseline pain. And then she had the other meds, I'll think of the name in a minute here, for breakthrough pain that she could take every 4 hours. But it was like after she was at her mom's house for less than a week, she was like, do you have any more of my pain meds? Like, I'm out and the pharmacy won't refill them. I was like, I sent you Dilaudid, that's what it is. I knew I'd come up with it. She was taking the Dilaudid. And I was like, I sent you 80 freaking pills in that bottle. Like, how are you out of them? She's like, I'm just out, like, and the pharmacy won't refill it. I'm like, okay, well, that was an old freaking prescription that I gave you. It was actually from 2 hospital stays ago. And so if you were out of that, that means you refilled it once and then they won't refill it again. So, like, what the heck is going on? Either somebody's popping your pills or they're feeding it to you like candy. Because she wasn't even taking them when she was at home with me. It was just that baseline pain stuff. So there's just so much weird stuff going on through this whole thing. And then, of course, they accused me of taking her pain meds. Well, I'm not a pill popper. I'm not a druggie. I don't even drink, except for rare occasion. Except I'm thinking about starting to drink after all this, to tell you truthfully. It might be the thing I need to start doing here, because I need something. Let me tell you what. This has been just a whirlwind of Twilight Zone stuff going on here. So anyway, that's kind of the short story there of, what happened, why she wasn't in my house. And it was like, the messages got like kind of fewer and farther between and just weirder replies. And, it's like I talked to her 2 days before she passed away. She actually called me. She was getting out of the hospital and was going back to her mom's house 2 days before she passed away. She's like, I'm getting out. I'm going to mom's on hospice. I actually have this conversation recorded because when all this stuff started, I bought a little electronic recorder and I started recording every conversation with my daughter, because my daughter was calling me from school forever, for like, well, let's say forever, for like a week, until they found out she was calling me from school and then threatened her. They told her if she kept calling me that CPS was going to take her and put her in foster care. And I know this because she called my daughter-in-law crying, telling her this. And that was the last time we heard from her, because they had her so frightened. And also told her if she didn't quit talking to me that her dad was going to get her and bring her to Dallas to live with him. if she didn't stay away from me and not talk to me. I mean, it was just all this manipulation just to put fear in her, to not want to talk to me or have anything to do with me. And it wasn't just me, it was like my whole side of the family. So I've got 3 granddaughters. My one granddaughter is actually the exact same age as Ashley, because I had my son early in life, and then my wife had Ashley late in life. So it just turned out that my granddaughter and my daughter were the exact same age. It was really weird. But they actually became best friends. I mean, they were like best friends because they actually used to live next door to us. So they were always together. I mean, they were close as close can be. And that bond and friendship was ripped away also, because she wasn't allowed to associate with anybody that had the last name Brundrett. That's what it was. It's ridiculousness. So it wasn't just me, it was my entire family, my mom, my oldest son, his girls, everybody. And I don't know, it just, the evilness, it just is just undescribable to me. So, anyway, I talked to my wife that last 2 days before she passed away, and I don't know, it's like, it's like she kind of gave in to the whole thing, which is sad because, like, I don't know. I mean, we loved each other so much. It was so perfect. And in the end, it's like she gave up on me. And I'm just always trying to wrap it in my head, like, how it happened, like, how she did it. I mean, because I know the love that she felt and how much she loved me, but at the same time, it's like I got betrayed. And the only way I can justify in my mind that makes any sense, because I know her true intentions and her true feelings. I mean, this woman wouldn't go 2 hours without giving me a kiss. I just feel like, because she was always scared about dying and leaving me, because she knew how upset and how it would affect me with her dying, because we loved each other just so much. It took us our whole lives to find each other, and when we got such a short time together, I mean, we had 4 years together, before she passed away, and it like felt like a lifetime, but then also felt like 4 weeks. And I almost feel like she thought that if she pissed me off and made me hate her, that it would make her dying easier for me. And that's the only way I can really logically justify it, but it really did. It made it harder, because it is just left so many questions. Like, what happened? What was going through your mind? How did you do this? How did you give in and just say screw you? It didn't make it any easier. It made it 100 times harder. And so that's just the part that sucks, when you have so much crazy deceit that happens with so many different people involved, and then the person that you love with all of your heart, they pass away. There's no answers. You're never going to have any answers. Like, what happened? What were you thinking? Why did you do this? How did you justify this? You'll never freaking know. In the inner papers, she told me she had a letter for me to read when she died. It was in a sealed envelope. It was with their papers. I was only supposed to read it after she died. Where is that? Yeah, who knows? Because all the paper went over to the evil person's house with her, and I'm sure it was shredded, or it's probably stuck somewhere, with darts through it. I mean, who the hell knows? But it definitely wasn't given to me. And there was another letter that she left for me that I was supposed to read on our anniversary, because she knew she would be dead by our anniversary. And she told my mom that, hey, on our anniversary, tell Alan to look behind this picture on the wall. I taped a letter for him to read for our anniversary. And so my mom told me, and of course that letter's not there. What happened to that? Who the hell knows? So, I don't know. And then, like I said, so she called me 2 days before she passed away, and, I asked her, I said, how did you do this? Like, how'd you just forget about me and go? And she was like, I didn't. And I was like, well then, how, why, what happened? And her only response was, I knew it would hurt you, but I knew you'd get over it. And it's like that sentence that she said, it's just, like I said, I've got the recorded conversation, but I'm not going to play the whole thing because I was crying like a freaking lunatic during the whole thing. And I look like really stupid, so yeah, we're not going to do that. But I just think about that, like, I knew it would hurt you, but I knew you'd get over it. Like, what does that mean? Like, and that's the only thing I can make of it is, like, she just figured if she pissed me off, it'd make my life better because I'd be mad at her instead of her. But now I'm just mad at her. So, I don't know. So anyway, I heard from her that day, and then that was on November 14th, or no, sorry, November 12th. And then on November 14th, 12:04 a.m., my phone rang. Of course I was sleeping. I didn't see this till the next morning. I had a missed call from her at 12:04 a.m. on November 14th. Saw it when I woke up, 7 o'clock this morning, or the next morning. Didn't hear the phone ring. And so I sat there and I looked at my phone. She called me, 12:04. No text message, no voicemail, just a missed call from her. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, should I call her back? And I decided not to, because I was mad. I was mad at what she did, so I never called her back. Less than 12 hours later, she was dead. She died that day. She called me at 12:04 a.m. then died at like 6:30 p.m. that day. But I never called her back because I was mad. And then what happened after that gets even crazier. Because you think that's crazy. What happened after her death? Because now she wasn't there to rein her mother in at all. She's out of the picture. Out of the picture, mother can do what she wants. This is when the real craziness started. You think it was crazy up until now? No. It gets crazier. But, let's see, we're 22 minutes in now. So we're going to talk about that in the next episode. Because you will not believe what happened the day after she died. Specifically, 2 days after she died. Oh, and to throw this in the mix, just got to throw this out there. So she died on November 14th, 6:30 p.m. Guess when my birthday is? November 15th. So she died the day before my birthday. And 2 years before, we were in the hospital on my birthday, and that was when she was diagnosed with stage 4. So she felt really, really bad that I spent my birthday in the hospital with her getting a death sentence. So the next year she threw this big old surprise party for me, this like casino night party, and she had this cute little outfit that she wore. I got a picture of that. I'll put it up here on the screen because she was so cute, her little outfit. And then she dies the day before my birthday. And I really wholeheartedly feel like she purposely died the day before because she didn't want to die on my birthday because she felt so bad when she got that diagnosis, you know, the 2 years before. So anyway, but you gotta stay tuned. You gotta come back because like what happens after she died is like will blow your mind. So anyway, remember to like, share, and subscribe, because if you subscribe, then you're going to get notified when these new episodes come out. And let me tell you what, guys, if you think it's crazy so far, like, it ain't nothing. I haven't even scratched the surface yet. This shit gets insane. Social media smear campaigns, like sending information, false allegations. You know, we're going to talk about the wonderful CPS, the continual CPS allegations that they filed, And I tell you what, all you got to do is keep filing them until you get an answer that you want. Do it in different counties and different people, and eventually you're going to get the answer you want. But, you know, I'm going to fight back. I'm not going to stand. But, I mean, that's just how it works. But the one thing I want you to always remember is the truth will set you free. And I am here to give you the truth. So, till next time, you guys take care, and we'll see you later.